Hey guys, it's Jordan El-Hag, president and lawyer for IBEW Local 1430, and I put together this slideshow for you to answer some questions on what this vote is about, what you're deciding at this upcoming election. You know, if you're working at Kolmar in the next 2 weeks, you're going to be actually this week, you're going to be receiving a ballot in the mail from the government, from the National Labor Relations Board, and it's going to ask you whether or not you want union representation. And I know a lot of you have been hearing a lot of bad information from Kolmar. I believe it's been all very deceitful, and I'm providing you with this information to help clarify things in your mind. And what I'm asking is that you watch the whole video and that you watch it with an open mind, right? Don't try to poke holes in it right now. Don't come with a bias. Just watch it. Take your time to understand the information and process it. And at the end of watching this, if you don't want union representation, that's cool, right? That's your decision. If you want union representation, then vote yes at the upcoming election. And if you have questions, you can contact us, and I'd be happy to spend as much time as you need answering the questions that you have. So it's going to be a little lengthy, but you know, this is a big decision for you and your life. So please take the time to watch it. We don't get the opportunity like the company does to bring you into these closed meetings and capture you in your time and just tell you whatever you want. So we have to find creative ways to get you the information. So that's why I'm putting together this video. I'm going to put together some shorter ones later on to give you answers to some more specific questions, but this one is really important. This is a very important topic, and it's about what the purpose of the election is, because I guarantee you that it's not what you think it is. So what's the purpose of this election? The purpose of this election, what you're deciding is whether or not you want to legally require Kolmar to negotiate with you, right? So what does that mean? That you are voting for you and your coworkers to have a voice at work, right? You're not voting for the IBEW. You're voting, you're deciding if you're going to allow Kolmar basically how to live your life, right? Right now, and as long as you've worked at Kolmar, Kolmar has been the one making the decisions for you, right? So just this is a fact. And if you sit down and think about it, you can't argue the fact. Who told you how much you were making? Kolmar, right? That's how much you're going to get paid. If you're going to get a raise, how much it is. The medical benefits, like who picked that out? Kolmar did. They didn't sit down with you guys and say, what medical plan do you want? They said, this is the medical plan you're going to get. Same thing with any pension plan that you have. Same thing with the holidays. The same thing with the schedule. You have no voice at work. You've had no voice at work, right? Just sitting down and complaining about things is not having a voice. What's having a voice is legally requiring Kolmar to sit down and negotiate with you over every single aspect of work, right? When you vote yes for the union, if the union succeeds, right? If the vote is a yes vote, then Kolmar cannot change anything that affects you at work without sitting down and negotiating and trying to reach a compromise that both sides can live with, right? So that's what the vote is about. It's not about joining IBEW Local 1430. You are not voting to join the union, to become a member. I want you to take that idea and put it out of your head. You are deciding whether or not you want to have the right to vote, to negotiate with the company. So when you look at the ballot, don't think, do I want to join IBEW Local 1430? You need to ask yourself, do I want to stop Kolmar from making any changes that concern me without my involvement? All right. So one of the things we heard from people is that they asked, well, we have the protection of the law, like, so why do we need a union, right? You don't have the protection of the law right now, and Kolmar does not have to listen to you if you vote no. They don't have to listen to you now, right? Like, this is another fact that you can't dispute. Kolmar, if you go into Kolmar right now or before, any time in history when you work there, and you said, I want a raise, or I want this change, or I want that change, they might listen to you, hear what the words you are saying, but they have no legal obligation to actually sit down and reach some kind of compromise with you to address your concerns, right? Kolmar is not taking your life into consideration at all, right? In the past 20 years, when it makes decisions, it does it for the benefit of Kolmar, how they can make more money, what they need. They don't think about your life, right? So how many of you have told us that Kolmar changes your schedule at the drop of a hat, right? At 6 days of work or 10-hour shifts or whatever other shift that they want, they just come and they tell you the day of or 2 days before, this is what you're going to work. It doesn't matter, what happens in your life, or that if you have childcare, they say figure it out or go find a new job, right? Another example, setting your pay rate. Like they are hiring people off the street that make more money than people have been there for 15 years, right? How are these wage rates getting set? Is that fair to you? You've given 15 years, 20 years to Kolmar, and they have no system in place of fairness on how they're going to evaluate how much they're going to pay you to bring somebody in off the street that's going to make the same amount of as you or more. I mean, that's not taking your contribution to Kolmar into consideration, right? They're just doing what they need to do to get people in the door without considering the fairness to you. The medical plan you're in, how much are you paying into that a week? Did you have any say in how much that is? Did you pick out the benefit plan? Is that the best plan available for you? No, Kolmar went and picked it out. And then Kolmar told you how much you're going to pay for it, right? Saying how much you have to pay for the health insurance, deciding if you're going to be able to retire with financial security. If you're going to give your life to Kolmar all this time, you only get a certain amount of time in your life. If you're going to give that to Kolmar, are you guaranteed that you're going to have some kind of financial security when you retire? How much are they funding into your 401k? Is that good for you? Is that good for you considering the wages that you're making? Do you have money saved to put into your retirement plan? Have you considered these options? Right? These are major, major life decisions and factors that you are allowing somebody else to make for you. Kolmar is making all those decisions for you. So when somebody says to us, I have the protection of the law right now, you don't. You don't have the protection of the National Labor Relations Act. If you want the protection of making Kolmar have to negotiate with you over your wages and any other aspect of your employment, it only protects you when you're acting together. It doesn't do it unless you have a recognized union where the employer has to bargain with them. So if you guys vote no, you're saying we don't want to invoke the rights of the National Labor Relations Board. You're going to keep it as it is. Kolmar is going to continue to be able to do what they have been doing for all of these years. So that's the purpose of the election, right? Like right now, Kolmar is saying, we are not going to negotiate with our employees. Like, we don't believe that they actually want to have a voice at work and that they want IBEW Local 1430 to be their representative. Like, we don't believe that, right? Because if they said, yeah, we actually know a majority of our employees actually want to be represented by IBEW Local 1430, then under the law, they would have to negotiate with you. Just by making that statement, by saying we know for sure that a majority of our employees want to be represented by Local 1430 or form the union and they want to negotiate with us over the terms and conditions of employment, they have to do it, right? That's what the law says, the National Labor Relations Act said. But they're saying, no, we don't think our employees really care. They want us to make those decisions for them, and we will let them vote to decide it. The government can decide whether or not a majority of people want the protection of the law or not by voting in this election, right? So if you vote yes, you're voting to invoke the protection of the law, right? Right now, you don't have it. If you vote no, you're choosing to not be protected by the law. So don't go and think that you actually have protections right now. You don't. And if somebody told you this, that you do, if the consultant that the company hired told you have protections of these laws, you don't, right? That's a fact. And if you don't believe me, you could call the National Labor Relations Board, and they will tell you that only when you act together collectively do you have the protection of the National Labor Relations Act, and your employer is only obligated to bargain with you when they know that a majority of the employees that work there actually want to be represented by a union or have formed a union and want to negotiate with the employer. So don't think you have the protection of the law right now, and if you vote no, for sure, you don't. All right, so people are thinking that IBEW Local 1430 is the union that you're voting for. It is not, right? That's not what this vote is about. Like, please understand that. The union is you. You are voting for you, not IBEW Local 1430. Let me explain it. All right, so maybe some people like to have some external evidence of this. So, all right, the law of the land. The United States Supreme Court has made the law clear, right? The employees are the union. Anytime a group of employees is acting together to deal with the company, that is a union, right? So here's a clip from the actual decision. Down here is the case number, NLRB versus Cabot. This is a Supreme Court decision. And here's a clip down here. Since that time, several courts of appeals have uniformly held employee committees or plans or labor organizations within the definition of this section of the labor law, right down there, S2 section 2(5). This decision is saying that whenever a group of employees gets together and deals with their employer for any work-related issue, that is a union under the law. I'm explaining this to you because the company is sitting in meetings telling you that a union is bad for you, right? Like there's some risk to it. And I am telling you that if you understand that you are the union, that the company is telling you then that you are bad, that you speaking for yourself is bad. Like if you guys just got together as a group and you went to the company and said, we don't like our pay, we don't like our benefits, we want to change, we demand change. They're telling you that that is somehow bad and you shouldn't vote to be able to do that. You shouldn't invoke that right. Instead, they're confusing you and they're trying to make you think that you're becoming part of our organization, right? This outside thing. And that is not how this works, right? You need to understand that you are voting for control of your economic well-being and that you guys are the union. This case is evidence of that concept. You can go and ask this consultant if what I'm saying is a lie. He can't, if he tells you otherwise, he's lying. Go ask him the question, and then you can call the labor board. The number's 212-264-0300. Ask for an information officer. And they will tell you, yeah, when you guys work together, that's protected activity. When you go to do those things, it's protected activity, right? So if that's a union, how can that be bad? How could you not vote for that? All right, so to take the concept further, right, that you're the union, not IBEW Local 1430. So you're going to get a ballot. And that ballot's going to say, do you want to be represented by IBEW Local 1430? Yes or no, right? So when you see that, if you're thinking the wrong way, you're going to say, God, do I want to join IBEW Local 1430? I don't know. There's these unknown things. I heard a lot of things I'm unsure about, so I don't know if I'm ready for that, right? What if I told you that when you vote, the question on the ballot said, do you want to stop Kolmar from being able to make any changes to your working conditions without negotiating with you first? If that was a question on the ballot, would you vote no? If you would vote no to invoking this right, then I can't help you, and I don't think anybody can help you, right? If you choose to let somebody else dictate the outcome of your life, I don't know what to tell you. But that is actually what you're voting for. The ballot's not going to say it, but that is actually the concept. So when you look at the ballot, you have to say, do I want to have the voice? The answer has to be yes. It has to be yes. There's no downside to you standing up for yourself. Would it change how you look at the election? By asking a different question, the right question, right? The right question is, do I want to have these rights? The people that, meaning your coworkers, that are feeling like they don't want to vote yes, or maybe they're saying, I want to vote no, there's a couple things going on, right? They don't understand these concepts. They're very scared, which I understand. We all get scared, and when things are uncertain and they have a major impact on our life, right? Or they have a deal cut with the company, right? It happens all the time. I've been doing this for 20 years, and I've seen it all. People get money under the table, they get promised the benefit, and they sell you out, right? So there are coworkers that are just going out there, making stuff up, whatever the company tells them to do, they're going to say it. You can't listen to anybody but yourself, right? And we're trying to give you the right information that you can rely on to make the decision. Now, if you hear what I'm telling you and you actually accept it and understand it, and you tell me that you don't want to vote for the union, if you don't want to take control of your life and you want to have somebody else make the decisions for you, then I can't help you, and nobody can help you, right? You're choosing to be a victim. You want to listen to this company that has treated you badly for decades. No one can help you. It's like, a person who's been, I guess a better example would be, you're arrested by the police. We all see these movies, and you go into question. They go to question the person, and they say, "Tell us what happened. Admit that you committed this crime, and we'll take it easy on you." Now, everybody knows that you don't talk to the police and you say, I want a lawyer. That's your constitutional right. I want a lawyer. I don't want to speak. I want to remain silent. Those are your rights. And the company actually, the police tell you you have the right to remain silent. And then these idiots go and they don't say that they want a lawyer, and they admit to the crime. And then the police throw the handcuffs on them, and then they go to jail. Right? Like they know their rights. They are told their rights, but they don't use their rights. It happens all the time. And they listen to the police. The police will tell them, listen, we'll take it easy on you. Come on, like just tell us. We want to help you out here. We're on your side. Like, and you say, well, I think I need a lawyer. Well, only guilty people ask for lawyers. Are you guilty? No, I'm not guilty. Okay, so you want to get a lawyer involved? Then we can't work with you anymore. We just got to deal with that lawyer, and we can't cut any deals for you. So just tell us you committed the crime. And people do it. They listen. It's unbelievable how many people would not be in jail, how many people wrongfully convicted because they didn't go and get a lawyer to stand up for them. If you're that kind of person that knows of their rights, but you're choosing to listen to somebody that doesn't have your interest in mind. Kolmar doesn't have your interest in mind. Kolmar wants to make money. Do you think they would care? If you were going to make less money by bringing in a union, would they care? They wouldn't care. They would make more money. If they pay you less, that means it costs them less money to make their products. That means they make more money. Do you think they would actually care about that? They would say, go ahead, vote for the union. You will make more money. They're fighting you, fighting the union because they know it's going to cost them more. This one's cut off by my face. I'll move it. But basically what it's saying is if you're the kind of person that you can't stand up for the company, you can't demand the respect for yourself, then I'm sorry. Like this, then there's going to be no changes in your life for the better, right? You have to be able to stand up for yourself. And this is a secret ballot election. All you have to do is mark a box with an X that says yes and mail it to the NLRB. No one's going to know, what you did, right? They're not going to know what you voted. And, you can see how things go, right? You're not going to be locked into anything. You're going to know exactly what's negotiated. But if you're the kind of person that's too afraid to actually stand up for their rights, then you're going to get what you deserve, which is what you've gotten for the last 20 years. All right, so here is where IBEW Local 1430 comes in, right? So the union is you, not IBEW Local 1430, but you need a professional representative, right? That's why people sign cards to be represented by us. You could have gone as a group, as there's about 300 people there, so 160 people could have gotten together and went and demanded that the company negotiate with them. But there's a difference in the power between you and Kolmar. When you go and act on your own, you guys are employees of the company and you're in a position of less power, right? You need to belong to a powerful organization that knows what it's doing to help you get what it is that you want. If you guys are too afraid to stop and speak to our representatives who are in the parking lot because you don't want the company to see you speaking to them, do you really think you do a good job for yourself bargaining with the company? Don't you think you'd still be afraid? Imagine in your mind that you're going to go into the CEO of Kolmar and against all their lawyers and all the people who specialize in doing this in a big room and sit down and be able to negotiate your working conditions and review contracts and medical plans. Do you think when they tell you that, oh, we had our finance team review all this, that you're going to have the confidence to be able to negotiate and to refute what they're saying? It's an unrealistic position to take, right? If you think that, when you guys won't talk to one another at work about the union, you don't speak up in the meetings because people in the meetings tell us what goes on, right? You don't challenge this guy who's telling you lies. or the coworkers who are making up lies, do you really think that you can do a good job for yourselves when you've never done it before? I'm not saying you don't have the capacity to do it. I'm saying you don't have the experience to do it, and you're always going to be afraid that you're going to get retaliated against, right? Right now, you're learning as you go, right? You're trying to figure out what happens, what the law is, what your rights are. You know, if you want to actually go through a process that you've never been through before and try to negotiate with an employer alone, you know, it's crazy. People don't do that, right? So if you're sick, you know, you want to go to a doctor who knows what they're doing, right? You don't just go on Google and diagnose yourself and then say, okay, here's the medicine I need, or I'm going to do surgery on myself. You go to people who do this for a living. We do this for a living. Not only do we do it, we're the most active, one of the most active unions in New York, one of the most active unions in the country, and we've done this. I can't 100 new contracts. You know, I've trained some of the top organizers in the country, right? Like we know what we're doing. So if you don't know the law right now, how do you think you're going to be able to invoke it? You know, if you're doing this by yourself. So yeah, you're the union, but work with us so we can guide you through the process, right? Like you don't have the money to hire lawyers and accountants. If you were doing this on your own, right? They would give you a contract, a legal document, and say, here's what we want to have apply to you. Like, do you know how to read a labor contract? Have you ever done that before? Do you know how courts interpret the documents? You don't have that experience, so you need to then go out and pay a lawyer to do that for you, right? We're doing this for free for you. Right? Once everything is done, we're going to present it to you. You're going to get to vote on it. But, you know, if you don't have someone doing that for you, like you have to pay them, and they're going to charge you $400 to $1,000 an hour to actually do that work for you. Like there's a cost, and no one does things for free, right? Like there's a cost to it. So you have to go get a lawyer to review all the legal documents. You have to get an accountant and actuaries to review medical plans and pension plans and the company financials, right? You have to pay for all that if you do it on your own. Not with us. The system that's in place with us is that we're going to do that for you. All of that's going to be provided for you. You know, it comes down to you guys just don't have the experience that you need to do this. If you spent 20, 50 years and devoted your life to being a labor representative, then I would say knock yourselves out. You can do it. Listen, go form a union. Don't worry about IBEW Local 1430. Just form a union. Like you need to have that protection and maximize your pay, and you have the knowledge and skill to do it on your own. But let me give you an example, and you can check this, right? You can check this. We can provide the backup for this if you don't believe me. In New Jersey, the attorneys that work for the government, the prosecutors, they work for in New York State, it's the attorney generals, you know, but the New Jersey attorneys that represent the state are unionized, and they are represented by the IBEW. So even this group of intelligent people, these lawyers who, you know, prosecute crimes, chose not to represent themselves. They went out and they affiliated themselves, and they selected the IBEW to work with, to represent them. And we, not Local 1430, but the IBEW, another part of it, represents them, right? So if these experienced, knowledgeable professionals who can go look up the law choose not to do it, then, you know, why would you try to go at it alone? Right? You shouldn't. That's not a smart decision to make, right? So that's why people sign cards with the IBEW for IBEW Local 1430, and that's why the ballot says, do you want to be represented by Local 1430, right? Do you want them to speak on behalf of your union? Like you're just choosing us as a representative for your group, and you can change that in the future if that's something that you don't like. So right. So why the IBEW, right? So you need a professional representative. You need to belong to a powerful organization, right? So instead of doing it on your own, you can belong to our brotherhood. It's not just IBEW Local 1430, like this guy was telling you, IBEW Local 1430, they're a small local. You're not just becoming a part of IBEW Local 1430 if you choose to become a member, and that's not at this vote, again, that's down the road. You're going to become part of the IBEW as a whole, right, as the whole organization. Now, I will just say that IBEW Local 1430, we're really good at what we do, right? And I have negotiated with the largest chemical companies in the world and gotten very good contracts. I negotiate with public companies and we get awesome contracts. Some of the largest organizations in New York. We represent some of the biggest food distribution companies in the area, and they're the highest paid people in their region. So to say that we're a small local, that doesn't, that sounds like a negative, but it's not. We pay so much attention to our members because we're a small local. And we're not that small. We're on like 800 people, right? But, when they tell you, oh, it's a small local, it's not just a local that you're becoming part of. You're becoming part of the IBEW as a whole, right? The IBEW, and you can look this stuff up, is more powerful than Kolmar, right? So when there are presidential elections and Congress elections for Congress and the Senate, the president of the IBEW actually goes and sits down with the president of the United States. Like actual politicians come and beg the IBEW for their support, right? Are they coming to Kolmar? Can Kolmar get major legislation passed? No. Like IBEW is like hundreds of thousands of members, right? They have tons of money to be involved with politics to advance workers' rights, and it's all designed to advance the interests of working people to help you do better in your life. It's the respect you will get from being part of a powerful organization, right? There's an international level. There's a state level, right? There's state labor bodies that the IBEW dominates, right? We get state and local politician support. We get media support. We we can go and influence businesses. We can put pressure on companies. You go look at how many times we've been sued because we put pressure on companies, and we win those lawsuits, by the way. And and that's what you get to be part of, right? We're one of the most powerful labor unions in the United States, one of the most powerful organizations. You get to become part of that. You get the full support of that. You're not on your own. This is about power and dignity and respect. And if you're with us, there's going to be respect. We can go and tell the company to shut up. We get to tell them it's not good enough, do better, because they can't do anything to us. And when you're part of us, they can't do anything to you. You know, this is the bottom line, right? Kolmar wants you to vote no because they want you to have no power. They want you to stay just the way you are. And I'm not trying to insult you. I'm not trying to make you feel bad. I'm telling you what the law is. If you tell me that you guys have always gotten together and made demands and forced Kolmar to give you better working conditions, I wouldn't be making this comment. I've heard from over 100 people how badly they've been treated, how unfair it is, how when they said they can't, they can't work a certain schedule, the supervisor said, go find a new job. It's your life. And we actually care about you being able to pay your bills, you being able to retire. Like, we don't care about Kolmar's profitability. We want them to be profitable. We want them to stay in business, but we want to make sure you're getting your piece of the pie. We don't want you feeling like you don't matter, that you're not contributing to the company, because that's how they treat you. They treat you like you don't make that company go. Those products don't get made by themselves, right? It's off your sweat, your hard work. And what do they pay you? Minimum wage? How much money do they make? Are you killing it in life? Or you guys have enough money at the end? Do you feel like they treat you the way you should be treated? I know they don't, because I've been told that. So understand that this vote is not about becoming part of IBEW, right? This vote is for you. You are the union. Understand that concept. You are the union. If you're in these meetings and this guy is telling you the union is bad, you need to say, how is it bad that I am speaking up for myself and you have to listen? How is that bad? I want to hear what he tells you. Oh, he's going to tell you, well, you might end up with less. Whatever. So let's say they come. That's the exact reason why you should actually vote yes. Because what he's sitting there and saying is, you shouldn't vote for yourself because Kolmar in the future might want to take something away from you. So you shouldn't have any protection against that. That's what he's saying. It's not the union that takes it away. He's saying Kolmar might take something away from you, so you should vote no. Right? You shouldn't vote for yourself and forcing the company to negotiate with you and protect from losing anything. They're saying, well, you might lose something. We might try to retaliate against you against the law if you vote for a union and end up with less. That means they're a piece of crap company that doesn't care about your rights and that they're willing to take something away from you. And people think that that's a reason to vote for the company. That's what it comes down to, guys. You can't go wrong by voting for yourself, to have a voice. If you chose to do it on your own, the ballot would say, do the workers of Kolmar want to negotiate with Kolmar and stop them from making the changes? That's what it would be. And you'd have to say yes. So don't get confused by saying IBEW. We're just here to help you along the way. And we're not going to take advantage of you. We're not going to make you go on strike. We're going to present to you the best working conditions that you can get. And you're going to be able to make that decision. I'm going to make another video about it, I promise. These things that people are concerned about, striking and fines and all these things, I get it's all the same. You're not going to get blindsided by anything. And if you want to talk to me, you can call us at the union office, 914-948-3771. And I will spend as much time on the phone with you guys as you want. If we could set up a meeting, I'd be happy to meet with you. But I just want you to make the decision that's right for you and really understand things, right? So I appreciate it. I hope you watch the whole video, and I hope to hear from you, and I hope we get to represent you. It would be our honor to do that, and that's really it, okay? So talk to you soon.